Hey guys, welcome to Retro Media Talk, the podcast where we talk about the 70s, 80s, and 90s. Everything related to media, whether it be movies, TV shows, music, and video games, technology, whatever. So, I'm here with Steve Lago. Steve.
I have returned.
All right. I'm Steve Montgomery, and we're going to be talking about our last TV decade that we're going to cover until we hit 2030, and then we'll go into the 2000s if we're still doing it. But right now, we're stopping with the 90s. I don't know for you, man, but it was another tough one for me.
Yeah, well, it wasn't really tough for me. I didn't watch a whole lot of TV in the early part of the 90s, only because I was in the military at that time, and I just didn't. I didn't have any time to watch TV. I mean, that was like the last thing on your mind. So, I mostly the latter part of the 90s, and then of course, I've watched stuff since then. Went back and watched stuff from the 90s, but really, I think the TV had changed in the 90s. Really, there was a. I think there was a lot less. There was a lot more. It seemed like there was a way more sitcoms to me. Did that seem like it to you? Like there was a lot of sitcoms on?
Oh yeah, definitely.
And I think those are just cheaper to produce. Maybe I don't know. Maybe it just seemed that way to me. I said, man, there's a lot of sitcoms that came out in the 90s, but I still managed to find a lot of shows that weren't sitcoms that I did watch quite a bit. And there was a lot of one-offs too in the 90s too. Mm-hmm. Like they lasted one season type of a thing. But I had a list of probably
now
close to 30.
Okay.
But I had to whittle it down.
Yeah, I know. Well, there'll be honorable mentions. We'll talk about them because there was some shows that are super popular in the 90s that I didn't watch until they stopped airing, and I found them later on in the 2000s. So I want to talk about those too, because people will be like, wait, you forgot about this TV show. It's like one of the hottest ones in the 90s, Yeah. So I don't want to leave that out. But yeah, so you want to do the same format? Start with.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Why change a successful method?
Yeah, I hear you. All right. So Steve, you got the first 5, and we'll go from there.
And like I said, no particular order. Although when I'm making the list, obviously, my top shows, they're always at the top of the list.
Yeah,
right. I mean, they are.
Yeah.
So number 1, Lois and Clark.
Yep, I knew that was coming.
1993 and 1997. Dean Cain and Terry Hatcher. It was a good show. It was a different premise. It wasn't Superman. It was more about the relationship between Lois and Clark, and Superman just happened to be kind of in the background of the stories, type of a thing. It was pretty good. Terry Hatcher was cute.
Mm-hmm.
Dean Cain, he had a different look. He didn't have that traditional Superman look, but I ended up liking him. He did a good job, and
yeah, he did.
He's a patriotic American on top of that.
Yeah,
so
definitely is. Did you watch all the show like later? I don't know if you caught it while it was on and watched it from beginning to end. Did you watch it from beginning to end at all?
I missed I have seen the whole series from beginning to end.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah, but I didn't see it when it was broadcast from beginning to end.
Right. Because I was like I watched it a lot, but I missed so much of it, and I missed like how it ended and all that. Did it end on a good note, or was it canceled? I can't remember.
No, it ended. It ended. They it's been a while, but I believe they got married and they had a kid.
Oh, sweet. Okay.
And I think that was the final episode, if I'm not mistaken. They a lot of it was all on set. It was all like you could tell it was like on some kind of back lot.
Yeah.
But it was still kind of cool. It was done pretty on the cheap, I think, because they wanted to save whatever little budget they had for probably some of the Superman effects, I guess. I don't know. It was all pretty simple. There wasn't a whole lot of crazy effects in it.
4 seasons it went. Then 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah.
It might have been 4 or 5. I don't remember.
Yeah.
They're on. Well, I don't know if you have it. If you have HBO Max, then the DC Universe is on there, and it's on there.
Oh, it's on there.
Yeah, so that's a good show. It was one of my favorite. Well, anything Superman, But,
anything Superman. All right.
Number 2, Quantum Leap.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that one.
Yeah, my father loved Quantum Leap, and he kind of turned me on to it, and I was so into it, but then they ended up doing they did that 2-part Lee Harvey Oswald
Oh yeah, I remember that
episode.
Yeah,
and for the longest time they wouldn't rebroadcast that.
Really?
I can't remember exactly what the reason was, but obviously it was because of
conspiracy.
Conspiracy theories or whatever. But they finally started showing it again in syndication and on the DVD releases. But yeah, it's an awesome show. Scott Bakula, I think he was pretty unknown. I think when that show came out, I don't know what he did prior to that.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I'm obviously he had done something, but I'd never seen him before, and he's a good actor. I think he's a pretty good actor. Of course, then his Al, his hologram buddy from the present, was Dean Stockwell, and he was a pretty established actor in the 60s and 70s. The only bummer about that thing is that there wasn't really a finish to the series.
Oh, okay.
I don't believe he ever got back home. It's been a long time since I watched it all the way through.
Yeah,
but I don't think he ever got home. And of course they rebooted it. I think just this past year, which I heard it's pretty good.
Really?
And I'm hoping, because it's not the new guy isn't Sam Beckett, so it's a different guy. So I was kind of hoping, well, maybe they could get Scott Bakula in there and maybe like finish his story in one episode or something, which would be pretty cool.
Huh?
Yeah, it's an Asian guy. I've never seen him before, but he's the main character in it, and I think it did pretty good. So I think there might be another
What channel
season
is
of
that
it.
on?
I want to say it's NBC.
Oh, okay. It's on regular channels then.
Yeah, I haven't seen it, but it's gotten really good reviews. So I'm hoping to watch it maybe next year or something.
Okay.
Anyhow.
All right.
Number 3, Sliders.
Oh, I remember that one.
And I didn't realize that it was on from 95 to 2000. I only thought it was like 2 seasons or something like that. But
yeah,
it was about some kid that opened up this vortex. Some science nerd kid opened this vortex up in his basement, and they were just sliding through different dimensions. It wasn't time, I don't believe. Jerry O'Connell, the fat kid from Stand By Me, and Sala, remember from Indiana Jones, was one of the characters.
Yeah.
There was like 5. There was there was a girl, and it was his girlfriend, and then there was another guy. He was like a singer or something, a blues singer. I don't remember it's been years since I watched it.
Yeah, well, I started watching that in like 2000, late 2000s or mid 2000s, whatever it was. Yeah, I heard about it and started watching on DVD. Whenever it came out on DVD, I was watching some of those.
Yeah, and I think a later season, maybe the last season, the last 2 seasons, maybe, then some other guy took over.
Oh,
for Jerry O'Connell. Somebody that looked a lot like him, might have been his brother or something. I'd have to go and look, but it was pretty good. It was pretty low budget. I don't even remember what might have been NBC or something, but I think it might have went then to a UPN or one of those stations. I don't think it was on NBC for the whole run.
Okay.
And let me see here. Next one, which is probably one of the greatest sci-fi shows of all time, The X-Files.
Oh yes, it's on my list. How could it not be?
Yeah, that was like there never been a show like that. Where basically all of the conspiracy theories / urban legends that what you think a very small fringe of society talks about, right? Was covered in that show, from UFOs to, whatever,
everything. I mean,
the Jersey Devil. I mean, they did everything. It was pretty crazy. And what was cool too is that they would have those episodes of the week where it was a different paranormal thing, but then from the beginning all the way to the end, they had the story, about the aliens and the DNA and all that, and the cigarette smoking man and all that good stuff. And then they brought it back for that 2 years ago, 4 years ago,
probably longer now, but season 10, and then
they brought it back, and
there's something else too, season 10, and was it a shoot? Because I got those, but it was season 10. There's another. Wasn't there another like mini episodes of them or something? Oh gosh, I can't remember.
I don't remember how they did it. It was like a very short season, wasn't it? Like 4 or 6 episodes.
Limited. Yeah, there was season 10, and oh man, what is it?
And they introduced those 2 new characters, which I thought, they're going to do a spinoff, and then they didn't.
The event series. That's what it was. It was like, it wasn't like a full, season, but it was the event series. You remember that one? Or is that season 10? No,
I think it's just season 10. That's where they brought in Joel McHale, and he was Alex Jones essentially, and
yeah.
I mean, I think it was like 6 episodes, and like 4 of them were all related.
6 episodes. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, right. So they said it was season 10, but it was okay. All right.
Yeah, I mean, it was short run. It was pretty successful.
Oh wait. Though season 11 came out too. Then.
Well, whatever the last one was, but there was a big break in between 10 and 11, right?
Well, shoot, I don't remember season 11. When did that come out? I don't know. I'm trying to look it up, but
it's been a long time. It's been a few years. I just know that it was super, super, successful, and Duchovny, I think, just didn't want to do it.
10 episodes, it says, for season 11. So I don't know which one was the one with the event series was the one where they're talking about it sounds like what's happening now. Isn't that right? With the government and then coming out with
because Alex Jones always plays that clip.
Yeah. But what was the? So it must have been the event series. I wonder what season 11 was. I haven't watched that one.
I've seen them all. I don't know how they did some weird stuff where they weren't even full seasons, and they did so many episodes, and then they waited for like a year and then put out a few handful more, and then it was over. So I don't. They probably just
confused on it.
Yeah, they did it to basically drum up money. That's what they did.
Yeah. I like Chris Carter though. I mean, he's pretty cool. He seems cool anyway.
Yeah. But it was a good show. And they were so young. If you go back and you watch like episode 1 now,
yeah.
I mean, Scully is like this little pudgy redheaded chick.
Yeah.
I mean, she was like so plain Jane, and then by the time the peak of the series, she was pretty good looking. She
had a couple movies too, little movies.
Yeah, the second one was horrible. The first one was good because the first one was tied in to the series, the fight for the future. I think it was.
Yeah.
But then that second one where there's the child molesting priest that's psychic or whatever, and they're chasing those people that are like harvesting organs or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was weird.
Yeah, I don't know if I saw that one.
Yeah, it was. It kind of was related to the series too, but it wasn't. There was nothing supernatural about it, other than the fact that I think the priest had ESP or something when he wasn't fondling children.
Yeah.
Yeah. The next show on the list, and probably, my gosh, it may be my favorite show from the 90s, and that was Highlander the series.
Oh, yeah.
He is Duncan MacLeod.
Then went from 92 to 98. Adrian Paul was the main character. He played Duncan MacLeod, cousin, I think, to Connor MacLeod. I think it was on... I'm not even sure what network it was on. I want to say it was USA or...
I think it was USA. I think it was.
You know, I don't think it started out on that. I think it was like UPN or something.
Really?
A lot of shows started, and then it went to USA.
Yeah.
And, it spun off a show. Was it The Raven? Wasn't it? I can't remember what it was called. I never watched it, but it was pretty successful. I mean, it was a pretty big show then. You know, they had a pretty big following because he was like the long-haired heartthrob. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I never got to
for TV.
Yeah, I watched bits and pieces, but I've been meaning to go back and watch it because you were such a big fan of it, and try to give it a chance because I mean the Highlander I remember is just the first movie. I don't even think I saw the second one, but
yeah, you don't want to see the second one.
Oh, okay. But you were always a big fan of it, and then I believe my friend Jesse, we're trying to get on this podcast. He watched it all the time. Pretty sure he was a big fan of it.
Yeah, so. It's a really good show. The first season, the first half of the first season, it's a little, it's a little slow. The episodes aren't that great, but by the time the first season ends, and then from all the way to the end, I mean, it's pretty. It's a lot of action, a lot of storylines going. It's really good. Cool soundtrack, of course. They kept the soundtrack with Queen on there.
Oh, okay.
And the only downside is I think they shot it on videotape or something. So it's like, even when you see it now, it's like the picture is just it's not very good.
Kind of murky or whatever. Or, I don't know. Soft. I think I saw clips and it looked kind of dated. They need to remaster that.
Yeah, it's got a weird look to it, but I love the show. I actually met Adrian Paul at Comic-Con.
Oh yeah, you told me. Tell the story. I want to hear this again.
Well, I wanted to meet him. I actually had paid for a meet and greet, and there was a big snowstorm that day, so I got down to Comic-Con late. I missed my meet and greet, and he was at a table, signing autographs, and was kind of getting, I don't know, he was kind of like on break or something. And I just went up there and said, hey, I said I missed my meet and greet, and I'd be willing to just pay for a picture. He's like, oh, don't worry about it. Come over here, and he took a picture with me and my son, and I named my son after him. So that was I told him about that, and
that's awesome.
And he's like, oh, that's a cool name, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, I took a picture with him, and he signed an autograph. He's a really, really, really nice guy.
Wow.
And he travels around the country now doing the sword experience, where he teaches people how to use a sword and stuff like that.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, he's been doing it for a long time.
So he really was he trained before the show to use a sword?
Before the show, I don't know.
Okay.
Or if he just got into it.
Yeah.
I know he was like a martial arts type of a guy.
Okay.
So he probably had some experience with it.
Yeah, I'm sure they taught him anyway when he was doing the show.
But yep, that was a great show. Like I said, it was filmed all in Canada. It was one of those. There's a lot of shows like that in the '90s that were like on the USA channel or UPN or something, and they were filmed in Canada, and they were kind of low budget, but like the Renegade and there were so many of those shows. The one with Relic Hunter, remember that one? They were all kind of like on the same vein of shows, but it was a good show. It's definitely worth checking out. And I'm a big fan of the movies as well, and they're supposedly rebooting that with Henry Cavill, so I'm looking forward to seeing that.
Oh yeah, that'd be great.
All right, so that's my first five.
First five? All right. Even though I take a multivitamin, I also like to take superfoods. And the best superfood I found on the market that tastes just amazing is Brick House Nutrition Field of Greens. Real organic superfood. 1 scoop of Field of Greens gives you the full spectrum of colors with fruits, veggies, herbs, spices, and more. Helps with your overall well-being by aiding in antioxidation, lipid metabolism, and glucose metabolism. Since Field of Greens is made from real foods, it's technically not a supplement. This is just pure whole foods, guys, and you can get a discount right now by using coupon code HEALTHYLIFE. Just plug that coupon HEALTHYLIFE before checkout in the coupon section and get our exclusive discount. You have to try Field of Greens from BrickHouseNutrition.com. Let me just start with when this show came out on MTV. I laughed my you-know-what off. And you know what it is, I'm sure.
Oh, of course.
But, yeah, Beavis and Butthead. Ran from 1993 all the way to 2011. Is that right?
Well, they say that.
Yeah,
they had a really long hiatus.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
and then they came back, and then actually I think they've had some newer episodes in the past couple of years.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, that wasn't totally accurate there, but yeah, Beavis and Butthead, Mike Judge, genius in my opinion. I love the show. We've talked about it before, even though, when we did the 80s music, how Beavis and Butthead kind of, made fun of some of the
yeah.
I mean, bands, and Winger got kind of screwed from that. But anyway, it's just a great funny show. Loved it.
It's definitely funny. I mean, it's so stupid. It's funny. You know what I mean? You can't help but laugh. And I remember when their movie came out, I went on opening day to see it, and just because it was such a big thing back then. Was it Beavis and Butthead Do America? Is that what it was?
Yeah. I bought all the, you couldn't get the, when it first came out on DVD, it was only available on Time Life. So I bought the Time Life episodes, kind of like with you buying $6 Million Man. That was the only way to get it. Now you can get the whole collection for cheap. I think it's still available. It should be. But anyway, the second one, since you brought up the name, I'll go ahead and say it. But it was Renegade. Renegade was just a show I loved. It's about a cop on the run, framed for a murder he didn't commit, and then he meets up with this Indian bounty hunter guy, and they go on and stop criminals, and catch bounties or whatever. Great show. I loved it. Something about Lorenzo Lamas on that bike, just, with his hair blowing. I always wanted to be him riding that Harley. Yeah, it was a great show. It was a Stephen Cannell production, also
Stephen J. Cannell?
Stephen J. Cannell, yeah. And it was on WGN. That's why I think I remember it being on there with Highlander on that same network, I believe. But
it might have been.
It ran from 92, 97. So there was probably a couple years that I missed there, and I caught it in syndication anyway.
I've only seen 1 or 2 episodes. I never really gave it a chance.
Yeah, you should give it a chance, man. It's a good show. It really is.
I think it's on Tubi right now, so I might check it out.
Yeah, definitely. All right, number 3. Another cartoon. Can you guess?
The Simpsons?
Well, that's somewhere in there. Raunchier.
South Park?
Yep, South Park.
I'm going down to South Park, gonna have myself a time.
When South Park came out in 97, I mean, it was the most controversial thing I've ever... I mean, people were talking about it, right? I mean, it was just like came on Comedy Central and just it was blowing up the charts. I mean, we've never seen an adult kind of cartoon like this, and them making fun of celebrities and all this stuff. I loved it. And then the guy I worked with, Jesse, that I was talking about earlier, he could do every impression of every character to a T. Yeah, that show ran from holy cow, man, 97 to what, like 20 some. It might be the longest running show. I don't know. Well, one of them, like 20s.
Well, the Simpsons
26. Oh yeah, Simpsons is longer than that. Yeah, what am I saying? But I mean, it was a long show.
Yeah. Well, it's still on today, right?
Is it still on? I didn't know.
Yeah, because there's a big controversy now because they made an episode making fun of Harry and Meghan.
Yeah, so I didn't know if they were getting canceled or not. I kept hearing all this stuff like it was canceled, so I don't know. But, whenever I heard there was like a celebrity or something they were making fun of and everybody was talking about it, I would try to catch that episode.
I did not have an anal probe.
Yeah. The fourth one, you're probably going to kill me, but this is a heavy hitter. Seinfeld. Was that on your list?
Yeah, it was. Or it is. It is. I mean, it's one of the funniest comedies of all time.
Oh my God.
Let's face it.
Okay, put it to you this way, right? We've been watching the whole freaking seasons every night for the last month or so, probably over, I don't know, whatever. Rewatching all the episodes on, it's on Netflix. Because I didn't subscribe to Netflix, but we subscribed for a certain resubscribe for a certain show, and then still got it. But yeah, we've been watching the reruns. Hold on, I gotta pour a little. It's wine time. So we've been rewatching it, all right, and the stuff I forgot about. Oh my gosh, that show is beyond perfection. I mean, I kept thinking Seinfeld was so, it was a good, clean comedy. Dude, it might not even make it these days. There's so much controversial topics and different things that are in there.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Yeah. I mean, I loved it. Everything. Yeah, that was a great episode, too.
There's a naked woman across the street.
But some of them, when I don't know where I was when I was watching it back then, but there was some stuff that I guess I missed. Like, I have them on DVD, but like the contest, I forgot about that one. Do you remember that one?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. That was hilarious. I mean,
walks around the house like that. Maybe she's a nudist. You know those nudists.
The chick that would be naked across in the next building. They'd see this chick naked, and they're all like struggling.
Yeah.
And of course, Kramer, he just he sees the naked woman, and then he just doesn't say anything. He leaves the Jerry's apartment. Comes back 5 minutes later or whatever. Lays down his money. I'm out. Just stuff like that. I mean, they covered so many different topics that were edgy, and I love it, man. It's my favorite comedy probably of all time. And Michael Richards, Jason Alexander. Hey, did you ever notice the stuff in the background? When you're watching the show,
Superman is in every episode.
Yeah, Superman's always there. You got the figure, you got the thing on the refrigerator, whatever. And then, but you ever look at his movies? He always got those VHS movies lined up, and you could only read one very clearly. And I don't know if you remember, but it's Child's Play. It's catches my eye every time. It's hilarious. So next time you watch the show, look for Child's Play. It's laying up there on the VHS shelf. There, and then he's got some board games up above that. But anyway, so Seinfeld, yeah, great show, classic. And then my fifth one is Coach. Did you ever watch Coach with Craig T. Nelson?
I saw a few episodes, but I didn't really watch it.
Yeah, Jerry Van Dyke made that show. He was just so funny. He was the other like assistant coach. Oh gosh, he was just such an airhead. So funny though. Ran from 89 to 97. That's my 5.
That's your 5. Your 5. All right. So the next one on my list is The Flash.
You know, I almost put that on there, but I didn't watch enough of it. That was a good show, though.
It was a good show. It was short-lived, but it was a good show.
Yeah.
It was it's pretty cool. Typical, early 90s, type of a show. He wore the big muscle suit,
Yeah. Yep.
But it looked pretty good on him. It looked pretty good.
It did. Yeah, it did. Yeah.
John Wesley Shipp was his name. Yeah, what a season. It was pretty good. What's about The Flash? What more can you say? It was good. It was a good show. Next show on my list is Mr. Bean.
Oh, Mr. Bean, yes. That was a good one.
For people that aren't aware of Mr. Bean, I'm sure most people know who Mr. Bean is, but there's not everybody. It was a show from England, I think, originally on BBC. Rowan Atkinson was Mr. Bean, and he was in Blackadder, maybe Faulty Towers. I don't know. Famous, English comedian, I guess. I mean, he's just so goofy looking. He doesn't even have to do anything. He can just look at the guy and laugh.
Yeah. They made movies from it too. A couple movies.
Yeah. The movies weren't that great, but the show is just
He doesn't
so
talk.
Yeah. He doesn't have to talk. I mean, he's just such an odd looking, funny looking guy that you just laugh. You just laugh at him doing the stupidest things. I mean, he's just it's a funny show. I used to watch it on local. They used to show it on a local PBS station.
It was on HBO too in the 90s.
Was it?
Yeah. That was where I caught it.
Yeah, it's a good clean comedy show, but it's funny. It's a funny show. They don't make them like that anymore. I don't know why I like the show. That's the next show on my list. But it was back from the MTV era. Things were changing in the 90s, and society and social stuff and grunge, and there was a show on MTV, and it was called My So-Called Life. Do you remember watching that?
Yeah, I remember that.
Claire Danes, that was like her first big gig, and Jared Leto was her crush in that show, and it covered a lot of topics, drugs, and the one kid ended up getting AIDS, I believe, and
was Jared Leto? Was he in 30 Seconds to Mars yet, or was he an actor first, a musician second? He must have been second, right?
That might have been his very first role, and that's when he kind of turned. Back then, he was like a big heartthrob. Yeah, from that show.
Right. Okay. So, and then he starred in Panic Room and I don't know, some other movies or whatever. But I did like 30 Seconds to Mars, that first album they put out. I did like that album.
I never heard it.
It's good. It really is. He's got a good voice, I think. But anyway, side topic.
All right, let me just do this real quick here. Next one on my list is Saved by the Bell. 89 to 92. Who didn't love that show? I couldn't help it. I wasn't a kid. I wasn't in high school anymore. But you know what? I was like, I just loved the show. I loved it. It used to come on. Was it Saturday mornings?
It was so bad, but good, I guess.
Yeah.
So cheesy.
I loved the show. It was just typical teenager kid type show thing. I was I don't know. I mean, it was funny. It was a funny show. I liked what's her name, Jessie.
You should talk about who's no longer on the show or with us from the show.
Yeah, Screech passed away. I can't remember. He had some kind of weird cancer.
Yeah, that was sad. Yeah,
I think it was like a aggressive like lung cancer or something. It hit him quick.
Yeah, it did. I couldn't believe it. I mean, that was just a few years ago, something.
Yeah, yeah. They and you ever seen that behind the scenes, behind the story? They made a movie about it. It was behind.
No.
And they didn't really like him.
Really?
Yeah, they didn't like him. He had like a complex or whatever, and he was always just trying to, because he didn't feel like he was a nerd, right?
Yeah.
So he kept on trying to fit in, and he would do like goofy stuff on stage and really alienate the other people. Yeah, they really disliked him.
No kidding.
Mario was like the guy that tried to deal with him. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So he died at 44 in 2021. Wow. I thought it was longer than that.
I mean, none of them really went on to do a whole lot. I mean, Mario Lopez is probably the most famous.
Yeah, he's doing all kinds of hosts and shows and stuff like that now. I don't know what happened to the other guys.
Well, Tiffany Amber Thiessen or whatever, she was on, was she on Melrose Place or something? One of those. She was on like one of those soaps, so she did that, I think, after Saved by the Bell. But like Zach.
Yeah, what happened to that guy?
He was on like, wasn't he like on NYPD Blue or something?
Maybe.
He was on some cop show for a few years. But the chick that played Jessie, remember she made that movie where she was like an exotic dancer, Showgirls or whatever? Did you ever watch that?
Oh, yeah, that one.
Yeah.
Dude, I hate to say it, but I kind of like that movie. It was so bad. It was like, I mean, not like it, but it was. I didn't think it was as bad as they were saying. It had some redeeming qualities.
Yeah, there was a few redeeming scenes in there.
Well, of course, that's why I watched it. But
yeah, right.
but it wasn't too bad.
Yeah, I just watched it. I think for the first time.
Oh, you did?
A year or two ago.
Yeah.
I was like, let me watch this and see what it's all about.
Yeah.
I heard there was like a good scene in there, so I wanted to see that.
Yeah,
but,
right.
It was nothing special, but it was okay.
Yeah.
But she did that, and then she disappeared.
Yeah.
And I think the only one that really didn't really do anything was Lisa Turtle.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what the heck she did afterwards.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a fun show. It was your typical mischief type kid show. Next show, Frasier. Love Frasier.
Oh, that's on my list too.
But I don't know what to do with those tossed salads and scrambled eggs.
Love Frasier.
I want
Really
that.
did.
I want that whole Blu-ray set that came out. Did you see that?
No.
Yeah, complete series.
I don't think I could go back and watch it again. I think it was just at the time.
At the
when
time,
it was
yeah.
out, I enjoyed it and stuff like that. And there was something about Daphne I liked too. She had that little cute British accent. I liked her. Obviously, that was a spin-off of Cheers.
Yep.
And it was on a long time. It was on from 93 to 2004.
Yeah.
It's hard to believe they could come up with enough stories to last that long. It's been so long. I literally haven't watched Frasier since it was on broadcast TV. I've never watched it again.
I want to know where it's. Well, I'll find it. I've been wanting to kind of revisit it and see if it holds up because I haven't seen it so long. But I did like it when I was out. Hey guys, do you want the ultimate iodine supplement? How about liquid B12? How about liquid turmeric in a herbal cold pressed tincture, never heated? The ultimate in detoxification. Pure, powerful, and potent liquid formulas in a raw herbal extract. Totally organic. Use our special coupon code HEALTHYLIFE at checkout at globalhealingorganics.com. Use coupon code HEALTHYLIFE.
So that's my next 5 there.
Well, this is one of my all-time favorites. It ran from 89 to 96. And it's Tales from the Crypt. It was on HBO. I loved the show because I love horror. So I loved Tales from the Crypt. It was a good, it was a 30-minute show of, I think it was 30 minutes.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. And, it's typical HBO. They usually had a little snippet of nudity in there or something.
Yeah.
Something like that. I don't know. But anyway, it was kind of like The Hitchhiker I was telling you about that was on HBO. It was that series, different stories. And I don't know, something about Tales from the Crypt that I really loved. So it ran pretty long on HBO. Not quite 10 years, but yeah. Good show though. Did you like it at all?
I saw a few episodes. I didn't. I wasn't like I didn't watch it on a regular basis, but I've seen a few. It was all right. I can't stand the Crypt Keeper, so it's
he did get annoying, but
yeah, he gets on my nerves.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm a sucker for any of those type of Twilight Zone type shows or
anthologies.
So, yeah, and then the next one. News Radio. I don't know if you ever watched that one. It had Andy Dick.
I never watched it, and then just probably within the past month, I said, I'm going to watch News Radio, and I watched the pilot, and I think 2 or 3 episodes afterwards, and so I haven't watched it again. But yeah, it was shaping up to be pretty good. I'm gonna end up watching it.
Yeah. So had a good cast. Phil Hartman. David Foley, ran from 95 to 99. Good show, really good show. But I haven't watched it so long either. What are you watching it on?
It's on Tubi, I believe it was.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna check that out again then. Revisit some episodes. The other one, the Drew Carey Show, ran from 95 to 2004. I thought that was a pretty funny show when it was on, and. Another sitcom, I guess. I don't know if you ever watched that one. I know you don't like sitcoms too much. So.
Yeah, I've seen a couple. I've seen a couple episodes. That wasn't my cup of tea.
Yeah. So, but anyway, that I thought was funny. Now this is a talk show, but I don't know anybody that didn't watch it when it first came out. And it's the Jerry Springer Show.
I never watched it. I mean, I've seen
it.
I've seen a couple episodes just by going somewhere and it was on, but I never sought out to watch it because to me it just seemed so stupid.
Oh man, I loved it.
It seemed stupid and it seemed staged to me.
And later on, it got worse. It was apparent it was staged, but I don't know like how much. But when it first aired, I mean, I was like, is this staged or not? I was always questioning, but it was so damn entertaining that I had to watch Jerry Springer every night. So it ran, it says 91 to 2018. But anyway, I watched it when it first came out, but it was around maybe 95 on, then I was really into Jerry Springer. It's one of those shows where I was just constantly, it was like watching a WWF match, and they'd always get in those fights, and there was some accidents on that show. I remember some brawls, but I think later on it got more staged because it was some bad acting, I think. So, okay, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, the fifth one is Saturday Night Live. The reason I have Saturday Night Live because I love the cast in the 90s. It had Will Ferrell, Phil Hartman, Chris Farley, Mike Myers, Danny Dana Carvey, Adam Sandler, just a big array of funny people I love. David Spade, Molly Shannon was in it, Tim Meadows. There was a great cast in the 90s for Saturday Night Live. That's when it was really funny. And then, obviously of late it started taking a nosedive. That's my last one.
Next one on my list is The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
I forgot all about it.
Yep. It was a good show. I liked it. I enjoyed it. It used to be on, it was on NBC, and later on, after it was done airing, I think it used to be on, like right around dinner time, in the 2000s or something. I watched it like every day.
Yeah.
But it was a good show back when Will Smith wasn't a psychopath.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh,
and,
man.
Of course, for me, Alfonso Ribeiro, when he would do his Tom Jones dance, was the highlight of the show. It was good. It usually taught you. It was a good, clean family show for the most part. It used to taught you a lesson. It was kind of like a throwback show from like the 80s to late 70s to 80s. It was different, different kind of show. Of course, back then, Will Smith was a different kind of a guy. Like, he was a rapper, but he was like a clean rapper.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
True.
He wasn't like the gangster. So that's why the show, I think, was that way. And it was really good. I enjoyed it. I think they had like a reunion years later, an episode or something, but I never saw it. But yeah, fun show. I don't know why, but it's always fun to laugh at other people. And next show on my list is America's Funniest Home Videos.
Dude, I struggle with that because I did watch a lot of that. That's a good pick, though. Yeah.
Every week, man, I would watch it. The Tom Bergeron years, and before that, it was wasn't it the guy from Full House or something? There's been a couple different hosts. It was the Full House guy, the guy that just died recently. Didn't he just die recently?
Well, I love that guy. Yeah, that's he was the first guy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Full House guy, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, didn't he die to do a blow to the head?
Bob Saget,
yeah.
Yeah, it was weird. In a hotel or something after he performed, or something like that. Yeah, I don't know if it was conclusive.
It was weird. It was weird. Then I don't think we'll ever get the straight scoop on that.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's a good show. It's a funny show. I guess I haven't watched it recently, but there's got to be a massive amount of material they got to go through, since everybody literally has a video camera on them now everywhere they go. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Back when it first came out, people were still carrying around those stupid, VHS and VHC recorders and stuff. So it's a good show. It's a fun show.
That's probably one of the longest running shows ever.
It came out in '89 and it's still on today. So it's that's the kind of show that networks want, right? They don't have to. They don't got to produce anything.
No, nothing.
All right, next show on the list is Briscoe County Jr.
Oh, I knew you were gonna put that on there. I knew it. But
is it on your list? Is it on your list?
It's in my other list. My other list, because I actually watched it later on.
Yeah, it wasn't that great of a show, but it's got Bruce Campbell in it. So, what more do you need to say?
Yeah,
right?
I know. Another guy you can just look at and laugh.
Yep. Yeah. And honestly, Bruce Campbell if he'd have just done something just a little bit different, I could see Bruce Campbell, if his career would have just went just a little bit different, I think he would have been like a massive star.
Yeah. He's like the biggest B movie star of all time.
Yeah.
In my eyes, he's got such a big following. And what he does, everything he does, just becomes, classic to fans like us that love his work.
Right.
his biggest role was probably Burn Notice.
Well, that was on USA though, wasn't it?
Yeah, but it was a pretty big hit because I talked to a lot of people that watched the show and they never knew who he was. I said, "What?" You know,
I never
Bruce
went to Burn
Campbell?
Notice.
Oh, you never did? Oh, shoot. It was good. It was good. He always wore these Hawaiian T-shirts or button-up shirts, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen clips of that, but I was like, the premise of the show, I just like, nah.
But go ahead and tell people who Bruce Campbell is.
Well, we've discussed Bruce Campbell earlier on a different podcast, but he is the B movie horror star from the Evil Dead and Army of Darkness, the Evil Dead franchise. I mean, that's what made him famous. He's just like a slapstick, physical comedy type of a guy back then. He just was just really goofy, but I mean, he's a good looking guy and he's, he has an old movie star look to him, doesn't he? Don't you think?
Yeah, I would say.
You could see him like in the 60s being a movie star. I could totally see him being that, but he's been in so many B movies. He's been in, Bubba Hotep and
Ash versus Evil Dead. That was on Stars.
Right.
There was a movie called Maniac Cop. I love. That's a cult film. He was in that.
All right, so that was 13. The next one on my list would be, let's go with the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles.
Oh, yes. I forgot about that one.
Remember that? Yeah. Went 2 seasons. The dude from Boondock Saints.
Oh, yeah, that's a good movie.
Yeah, Sean Patrick Flannery. He was Indiana Jones in there. And there was a couple people because I think it flashed back. It's been years since I've seen it, but I think some episodes it was him, and some episodes it was like a kid, if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember. It goes back and forth. I think through time, type of a thing. And obviously it was about the young Indiana Jones. What more? Yeah, Spielberg produced it. I don't remember it at all. But I'd like to go back and rewatch it. I'm sure it's probably pretty crappy nowadays, but because I remember it not being nearly as good as Raiders of the Lost Ark or the movies. But It was a good show. Number 14. That was 14. So number 15 would be. And I think I talked about this last. In the 80s, or maybe, I don't remember, might have been Star Trek The Next Generation.
Oh, yeah. You did talk about Star Trek. Was that the one?
Yeah, because it was from 87 to 94, I believe. So, yeah, I mean, I watched it. Whenever I could. Good show. Good show. Star Trek. What more? If you're a Trekkie, you know what I'm talking about. If you're not a Trekkie, well, that's too bad. Well, you're up.
Okay, this show, I don't know if you heard of it or seen it, but it was on, I think, USA also. It was called Forever Night.
I did see a few episodes. That used to run, like when I moved here to Cleveland. Mm-hmm. It used to run. It would be Highlander, Forever Night, and then La Femme Nikita would be all in a row.
Yep, I remember that. Yep. So that was another cop show, but the difference was Nick Knight, the cop, was a vampire. He's trying to redeem himself from all the bad stuff he did. Didn't watch it like faithfully. Yeah. But I watched it, when it was on, when I caught it.
I saw a few episodes. Something I'll probably go back and watch an episode and see if it's worth wasting my time or not.
Yeah. I know. Ran from 92 to 96. So the next one is The Real World. And the reason I kind of liked The Real World when it first aired was because it was kind of like the first reality TV show. And, of course, that aired on MTV in 92.
Yeah, I remember we used to watch it. And over at Stover's house. I don't know if you remember.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, we can do this. We sit here on this couch like we would do, drinking our Milwaukee's Best, and doing stupid stuff, and we could have just, we could have been the first reality stars, but it wasn't meant to be, I guess.
Yeah, I know. That sucks because it would be so easy to do, and we probably could have made it better.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was it. That kind of kicked off the whole reality phenomena, I guess. There's that. The X-Files was on your list, and it was on my list, so that was the next one. And then Lois and Clark. And so that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, I got one more. Okay, this is the show that had Bruce Campbell in it also. Here and there, not a mate, whenever. But it was Hercules, The Legendary Journeys. And, of course, I had Kevin Sorbo in it. And I wasn't a diehard Hercules fan, but I watched it when it was, whenever I caught it. Ran from 95 to 99. I actually went back in the late or mid 2000s, I think it was, and then started buying the DVD sets and rewatching it and stuff like that. But it was a good show. And then it spawned Xena, the warrior princess.
Yes.
And I think, I don't know if Bruce Campbell was on that. I don't know. I think he maybe made appearances on that, but I don't know for sure. But anyway, yeah, I liked it. It was a really good show, and I like Kevin Sorbo. So that's it. That's
it?
My next 5. Yeah, that was it.
All right. So for my final 5, the next one is Blossom.
Don't fight the feeling, you know you want.
You ever watch Blossom?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, but I was embarrassed to put that one on there.
Yeah.
I was like, I ain't putting that one on there.
Yeah,
I watched it.
I watched it.
Yeah, okay. Well, you got some balls.
I don't remember anything about it. But as I pulled up on the internet what shows in the 90s, and I used to watch Blossom. I literally don't remember anything. I remember Joey Lawrence being on there. Yeah. Back then, he was like the big heartthrob. Remember?
Right.
But I used to watch it a lot. And what's her name is now? I think she's the host of Jeopardy now. That chick.
Oh yeah. I think you're right.
Yeah. Yeah, I used to watch that. It was a pretty good show. Like I said, I don't remember squat about it, but yeah. Next show is The State. You ever watch The State? Oh, I know you've seen The State.
Yeah, I've seen it, but I don't. What was that about?
It was on MTV.
Yeah. Okay.
It was that ensemble comedy show. And
I forgot all about it.
Barry and Levon, remember? And they had the guy with the balls. Oh, dip my balls in it, and
yeah.
They ended up doing a lot of those guys left and didn't leave, but later on they were involved with that show Reno 911.
Oh yeah, I love Reno 911.
Yeah, so a lot of the guys from the state, I think those people went to this, and then maybe Kids in the Hall. I think too, they were. Yep. I think they all. Some of them went to those shows, but it was funny. It was like a sketch comedy thing back in the 90s. It was a big thing in the 90s when MTV kind of put out their. Like real programming when they had The Real World, The State, they had Beavis and Butthead, they had My So-Called Life. They were trying to put out shows, and that was one of them. It didn't last, but like one season, probably. That's all it was. But it was funny. It was funny. I often wonder what happened to some of those guys. This is one of these shows that it was on. We were talking about Highlander and Forever Night and La Femme Nikita and Renegade, all those shows that were kind of like in that same genre, and they would be on like here, and I think it was Saturday night. It would be Highlander, Forever Night, La Femme Nikita, and then it would be Silk Stockings.
Oh,
Did you ever watch
Silk Stockings. Oh, yeah. There was only one reason I watched Silk Stockings.
Yeah, because the first 2 or 3 minutes, there would be almost like a soft porn scene, and they would turn into a murder, right? And then that would be the rest of the show was about because so it would always be late at night, and I was like,
Silk Stockings.
Let me check out the first 5 minutes of Silk Stockings. I would never watch the rest of it. I probably would watch the first 5 minutes and whatever. Maybe maybe to the first commercial break, and then I would change the channel. But I watched it every week, at least the first 5 minutes, because of the soft porn.
Yep.
But anyhow, Silk Stockings, big show in the 90s.
That was a big show. That was a USA one.
Yes, it was.
That came on That came on like 10 probably, or I don't know what it was. Late,
it was it was late, 11, 12 maybe.
Yeah. Oh, shoot.
Yeah, I could tell you a story, but I don't think it's appropriate. Anyhow.
We probably both got stories.
Yeah.
Hey guys, what's up? This is Steve Montgomery from Retro Media Talk. Hey, I just want to let you know I got a new album out called Night Sky. If you like ambient, cinematic type music, a little synth wave mixed in with some of the tracks, hey, check it out. It's available on Bandcamp, Amazon, Spotify, and some other outlets. I also have a physical CD that you can order through the link in the podcast description wherever you're listening to. Thank you so much for your support. Steve Montgomery, Night Sky, out now.
And since I've mentioned it 3 times, another good show that I enjoyed was La Femme Nikita. Did you ever watch that?
No, there was a movie called that.
Yes.
And I never did watch the TV show, but I kind of have an idea, what it was about.
There was a foreign movie called La Femme Nikita, right?
Yeah.
And then they made an American version of it, and it had Bridget Fonda in it. I can't remember what it was called. And then after the Bridget Fonda movie, then they made the TV series and then used the original French film name. And it was basically about a woman that basically gets brainwashed and trained to be an assassin.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
kind of like all those MK Ultra type of deals, whatever. But the chick, I believe her name was Peta Wilson. She was kind of foxy back then. It was a pretty good show. Like I said, it was in that classic lineup of those USA shows. They were filmed on videotape, and they were nothing special. But I did watch it a lot. It was my Saturday. If I wasn't going out, I was watching La Femme Nikita on Saturday night. The last show, and we talked about it last week. You talked about it last week, but I didn't talk about it last week.
Okay.
But for me, Married with Children.
Oh yeah, of course.
And what else is there to say about Married with Children? Al Bundy, Peg Bundy. Al Bundy is he's like the epitome of, the stereotypical, blue collar type guy, hates his job, comes home exhausted, he's got an annoying wife.
Honey, why don't you just stay home and bowl me over?
Peg, I prefer a place where my balls are returned promptly.
Ungrateful kids, it checkbox all the stereotypes of a blue collar guy back in the 70s, 80s, I guess 90s.
How dare you say that to my face?
Well, I'd say it behind your back, but my car's only got half a tank of gas.
And great show, and it was on for like forever. So I had discovered a podcast a couple weeks ago. It's a Twilight Zone podcast. I know Twilight Zone is not in the 70s, 80s, or 90s, but I'm a huge Twilight Zone fan.
Oh, me too. Well, they did do the 80s remake, remember?
Yeah.
We talked about
You're
it.
right. But this podcast focuses on the original, on the original 5 seasons of the Rod Serling, the classic episodes, and it's called Dimensions. It's called Dimensions, a Twilight Zone podcast. The host is Bill Couch. He kind of has like an NPR feel to his voice when he's doing the doing the synopsis of the show and giving his commentary, and he has a guy that does an impression of Serling, recreates all the narration parts of it. It's pretty cool. I would highly recommend it if you like the Twilight Zone. And he covers the episode. He talks about the actors and some of the trivia. Points out some of the goofs, the mistakes, in filming and stuff like that. So it's interesting. Definitely check it out. It's on Google Podcasts and Podbean, pretty much every platform. So check it out. I highly recommend it.
Of course, one of my favorite all-time series is The Twilight Zone, the original. I love it.
Yeah, me too. It's they've tried many times, and it just, without Rod Serling, his mind, it'll never be as good.
No. The stories just are so creepy, a lot of them, and we talked about the black and white and everything, and how much more creepy I think the black and white makes it. In a way, and I don't know, just the way it was filmed, the stories, just amazing show. So yeah, guys, check out that podcast. I'm going to, for sure. What was it again, Steve? What was it?
It's called Dimensions.
Dimensions.
A Twilight Zone podcast.
Was that your last one?
That's
it. That was it. Okay, all right.
The finale.
I only watched this for the chicks, so. It was strictly eye candy. I couldn't tell you anything about the stories. It was just about the jiggling and the boobs for me. But yeah, it was Baywatch. 89, 2001. I just wanted to look at the hot chicks. So not much to say about that one.
No.
That's all I did.
I've never seen an episode of it. So
it was just for the chicks.
You know more than I do. That's for sure. The only thing I know is, what is it, Pam Anderson and the Hoff were in it. That's all I know about it.
Yep. I mean, of course, I love, the Hasselhoff, but I didn't watch it for him. I watched it for the eye candy. All right, so everybody's seen this show. If you haven't, I'd be shocked. But anyway, Cops. Came out in 89, went through it went through, 25 seasons, but I watched it mainly in the 90s. I loved Cops. It broke new ground in the reality-based TV.
It did.
TV land. That was probably the first real reality show.
Yeah, you're probably right.
And then later on, there was another cop show I loved, and they canceled it early. But Cops was the original long-running show. I think they brought it back on another network. Might be Fox, maybe? Like, not Fox Network, but the Fox streaming app or something. I heard something about they bringing it back.
Well, they remember they canceled it when they decided all the cops were bad and they wanted to defund the police. I don't remember what incident happened or what it was, but yeah, it got basically canceled because the police were bad now.
Because the other cop show got canceled. Damn it! Why can't I remember the name of it? We watched it all the time. It was live too.
Oh, yeah.
Live PD. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, my one brother-in-law watches that. Used to watch it all the time.
Oh yeah, it was awesome because it was actually live.
How did they know something was going to happen though? It could be like a boring.
Well, yeah, it could be, but it was. I mean, it was like 3-4 hours. I don't know what it was on, or how long it ran. But yeah, it was. The thing is, they would have cops recording from a bunch of different cities. So whenever something was going down, they'd go to that cop. So there was always something going down. But I saw a lot of cool stuff, man. Like, chases and wrecks. And, I mean, there was a couple deaths in there. I mean, it was crazy.
There's nothing like seeing a good death on
TV. I mean, that sounded bad, live, I guess. You know what I mean, there was a couple wrecks, and they'd say this person later, died or whatever, and it's like, gosh. But it was a great show. It was a great show. And then the next one was The Simpsons. I liked it when it came out. Do
you remember when it originally came out, Steve?
Well, it did come out in 89. Right.
But do you remember before that?
No. What?
It was when Fox first became a network, and there was the Tracy Ullman show. Do you remember that?
Oh yeah, Tracy Ullman. Yeah.
And the Simpsons were just like a little vignettes or whatever on her show, and that's where they came from. And then it evolved into their own show.
Oh really?
Yep.
Oh shoot, I had no idea.
But yeah, I think they said that it's been a few years since I read the article or saw it on TV that The Simpsons is like the longest running cartoon or the longest running sitcom or it's the longest running something. But I'm not sure what category
Of all time. Definitely.
But I mean, if it's been if their show was 89, so you're looking at what is that 34 years?
That's
essentially.
crazy.
I mean, aside from soap operas, I mean, I guess it's got to be probably the longest running show.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I never was a really super huge fan. I watch it. I don't mind it, but
right.
I wasn't really, I wasn't.
Oh, I wasn't either, man. I mean, when it first came out, yeah, when it first came out, I liked it, but it got kind of old for me after a while. When South Park came out, I was done with the.
Right.
I was done with the Simpsons.
Right.
But so the next one, I don't know if you ever watched it, but this is a bad one because I'm kind of tied. I have In Living Color written down as my main one because I love that show. I had the Keenan brothers, in there. Jim Carrey was in there. Great sketch comedy show. Ran from 90 to 94. Watched that, consistently. And I also watched that Mad TV also. So two sketch comedies, and I'm like, what did I watch more? I don't know. But
I think Mad TV's better, but that's just me.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I can't remember exactly. I love them both. So anyway, my last one, Tim the Tool Man. Home Improvement. 91 to 99. Love that show. Love Tim Allen. I don't know. Great comedy. A lot of funny stuff in that show. Ran for all through the 90s basically. So that kind of takes care of my list, and now we get into the shows that I missed in the 90s that I found later and absolutely fell in love with. So, do you have any right now?
Nope.
You want to disclose? No, you didn't make. You didn't make a secondary list.
No.
Oh shoot! All right. Well, this one I found in 2005, right after it ended. I think it ended in 2004, and I never gave it a chance in the 90s. I saw bits and pieces. But later on, I was like, oh my gosh, this show is hilarious. We were in Florida at my girlfriend's friends staying at her place, and she had the DVD set of it. I think we were wall watching it or something. I don't know. I can't remember. But I found the show just to be absolutely funny. And it's Friends. And I know people are like, what about Friends? Some people are probably like, that should be on top of people's list, and I can see why, because it ran from 94 to 2004. I found it in 2005. They released the DVDs, I guess right after that, and I remember coming home from Florida and charging it on my credit card and buying the whole set. Yeah, I watched it all the way through and loved every bit of it. So Friends was a great show. There's another show brought to you by Chris Carter of the X-Files.
Millennium?
Yep, I loved it.
I watched a few episodes, and the episodes that I saw I liked, but I never really had a chance to really watch the whole thing.
Yeah, you gotta stick with it.
I can tell it's a show that I would really, really like, but I just never got a chance to really sit down and watch it on a continuous basis.
Yeah, it's a good one. Ran 96 to 99, but yeah, it's a good show, man.
That was actually a spin-off from the X-Files.
Yeah.
There was one episode, I think, where they introduced the what was his name? The main guy, Lance Henriksen.
Yeah, Lance Henriksen. Yeah. Yep.
There was like one episode where they kind of introduced that in the X-Files. I don't remember it, but I do remember that it was a spin-off.
Another show I found kind of later was I mean, not kind of. I did, but King of Queens, 98. It was late 90s, but 98, 2007. I watched that one. I love that one. And another late 90s show was the 70s show. Really loved that show. Missed it on TV when it was on in the 90s for the last 2 years of the 90s, but really love that show. Now, I will tell you, they're trying to reboot it on Netflix with some other, it's called The 90s Show, and it sucks ass. But anyway, another show that I found, absolutely loved it, man. It was a 99, but it only lasted like one season, I think, and it was Freaks and Geeks. Did you ever watch that one?
No, I don't know anything about it.
Oh man, great show, cult classic. There's so many stars that came out of that out of that TV show. It was produced by Judd Apatow, and I'm sure most people know who that is. Creator Paul Feig. Anyway, James Franco was in it. He came out of there. Seth Rogen came out of there. Jason Segel came out of there. Sam Levine, I don't know if you know him, he came out of there. Those are a couple of the big ones. There was another one too. But anyway, it was just a great show, man. It only lasted, like I said, for one season, and they canceled it. It's too bad. But it's basically about some high school kids, burnouts, and it's set in, is it set in the 70s? Now I'm trying to remember. 70s or 80s? 80s, I think. Yeah, it's the 80s, and at McKinley High, there's two different groups of teenagers. The freaks with the cool, charismatic Daniel DeSaro and tomboy Lindsay Ware, and the geeks with Lindsay's shy younger brother, Sam, gentle, I don't know, I'm reading all this crap. The show chronicles normal teen adolescent problems any teenager goes through, including acceptance, drugs, drinking, and bullying. Anyway, it's a great show, set in the 80s. So, there you go. Another show, Roswell, started in 99, 2002. Didn't run a whole long. I mean, it was the tail end of the 90s, but
right.
Great show. The original, not the remake. They tried to remake that series. It sucked. But really good show. CW show. I don't know why I was a sucker for a lot of CW shows. And then I found, which I missed it, I found Everyone Loves Raymond's pretty funny. And
never watched that one either.
Let me shoot one more out at you. It was a cheesy kind of dinosaur TV show.
Oh yeah, well, yeah. I know. I never watched it, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, The Lost World. I don't know, something about that show I liked. It was like it kind of reminded me when I was a kid. Watching that other show about dinosaurs. Oh, shoot, I can't remember. We talked about it in the 70s show. But
Land of the Lost.
Yeah, Land of the Lost. Yeah, it's like that, but, a more updated version.
Yes.
But, yeah, it was Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's The Lost World. And, it was a good show. And it ran from 99 to 2002. So I think it was on USA, maybe one of them channels.
Yeah, it's about right.
Something like that. Okay, I think there was only one other one I kind of will throw out there. American Gothic. it was kind of.
Yeah, I was a test. I was a Nielsen person for that.
You were? No
Yeah,
way.
When I was living with Stover, we were contacted by these people at the mall. We were at the mall, and they asked us if we would be interested in reviewing like 5 different pilots, and they basically it was like on an afternoon. We had to be at the house, and they turned it on through this cable box, his cable box.
Yeah.
And we watched American Gothic, and there was another show. There was like 5 shows. Only 2 of them made it. Because after the show, we like the next day we had to go somewhere downtown Peoria, and we did like a focus group, and we talked about the different shows and which ones we liked and whatever. But American Gothic made it.
Oh my gosh, you never told me this.
Yeah, me and Stover went and had to do it. And American Gothic made it. And another one of the shows, and I can't remember the name of the show for the life of me, but it was a sitcom, and it had Andrew Dice Clay in it.
What?
And that made it. It made it to a show.
Oh my
that
gosh.
which actually was broadcast. The other 3 shows, I don't remember what they were, but they were never made into series.
Wow. So do you remember American Gothic?
Yeah, I thought it was cool. It was pretty, because that's the kind of shows that I'm, I was into, that I am into. It was kind of like supernatural, and had Gary Cole and that kid, and of course the pilot episode. I mean, they totally don't. You have no idea what is going on, and by the time the first episode's over, they've totally pulled you in.
Yeah.
And so that was probably the best show of the 5 they had us watch.
That was created by Sean Cassidy.
Huh.
Yeah, isn't that weird? So anyway, that's that. I guess that takes care of the 90s.
All right.
Hey, thanks for listening to our 90s episode of our favorite, most watched TV shows of that decade. So find us on all the platforms, or instead of telling you all the platforms, just go to retromediatalk.com, find all the links there. That'll make it real easy. Yeah. That'll make it a lot easier. So retromediatalk.com. Other than that, thanks for listening. And go check out that Twilight Zone podcast, Dimensions,
a Twilight Zone podcast.
And he's on all the platforms, I imagine. So,
yep.
All right. So check that out, guys, and subscribe wherever. And we'll talk to you next time.
Bye.
My mother caught me.
Caught you doing what?
You know.
I'm out.